Let me ask you something. What if those limits you feel every day, that voice in your head that says, I can't, I'm too tired, I'm done, what if they're not real? What if they're just a firewall your brain puts up, and you actually have the power to just smash right through it? Okay, let's get into this, because today we're unpacking the mental toolkits of two modern legends of resilience, David Goggins and Jocko Willink. This idea right here from David Goggins is pretty much the core of our entire explainer. I mean, think about it. It's a wild concept that most of us are operating at less than half of our true potential. So, where in the world does an idea like this come from? And maybe more importantly, how do we tap into that other 60%? Well, to answer that, we've got to look at the men who actually live this philosophy. Now, they come from different backgrounds, they have different approaches, but they've both ended up in the exact same place, with a mind that is just about unbreakable. On one hand, you've got David Goggins, the warrior, literally forged in the fires of unimaginable pain. His whole philosophy is to run towards suffering. Then, you've got Jocko Willink, the leader, shaped by the strategic discipline of a Navy SEAL commander. His philosophy is that a strict daily routine is the only real path to freedom. Two very different paths, but they lead to the same goal. Let's start with Goggins. To really get a handle on Goggins' methods, you first have to understand his origin story. This isn't some theory he read in a book. It's a survival guide that was created in the absolute harshest conditions you can imagine. The mental tools he built were a direct response to real physical and emotional pain. They had to be raw and they had to be effective, because for him, it was a straight-up matter of survival. I mean, the sheer scale of this transformation is it's incredible. Just look at this timeline. From a childhood of brutal abuse to being almost 300 pounds with zero prospects, he just decided to change. Losing over 100 pounds in 3 months is staggering by itself. But then, to go on and become the only member of the U.S. Armed Forces to complete SEAL training, Army Ranger School, and Air Force Tactical Air Controller training, it's almost unbelievable. So the key question is, how? How did he do it? The answer is really right here, in this quote. He realized the change had to be internal first. The external battle, the one everyone sees, could only be won after he conquered the one happening inside his own head. He had to fundamentally change that conversation he was having with himself. So he created a set of mental tools. Think of it like a survival kit for the mind. And these aren't just motivational slogans you put on a poster. They are practical, repeatable strategies for weaponizing your own willpower. So let's break them down. All right, first up, the big one, the 40% rule. This is the cornerstone. Your brain is designed for survival, not for peak performance. Its job is to protect you, which means it sends that quit signal way, way too early. The 40% rule is a mental override switch. It's you giving yourself permission to tell that voice, hey, thanks, I hear you, but I know there's more in the tank. Okay, so next you have to actually train that override. Goggins calls this callousing the mind. You know how your hands get calloused and tough from lifting weights? Well, your mind works the exact same way. It gets tougher by enduring hardship that you choose to take on. Go for a run when you absolutely don't feel like it. Take a cold shower. Do something that just sucks every single day to prove to yourself that you can handle being uncomfortable. But how do you stay on track with all this? That's what the accountability mirror is for. This is Goggins' tool for cutting out all the lies and excuses we tell ourselves. You just can't hide from the person looking back at you in the mirror. It forces you to have a daily dose of brutal honesty. And it's so simple to put into practice. You write down your goals, you write down the things you're avoiding, your insecurities, you put them on sticky notes right there on your mirror. So every single morning you have to face them. There's no more hiding. It's just a powerful, honest conversation with yourself about who you are right now versus who you really want to be. Now, for those moments when the accountability mirror feels a little too harsh, you need a source of fuel, and that is the cookie jar. It's not a list of your failures. It's a detailed log of every single time you've ever succeeded, every obstacle you've overcome, no matter how big or small. So when your mind starts screaming at you that you can't possibly do this new hard thing, you mentally reach into that cookie jar and you pull out a memory. I remember when I finished that impossible project. I remember when I survived that brutal workout. It's just proof. Prove to yourself that you've been a badass before and you can be one again, right now. Okay, now let's shift gears and talk about Jocko Willink. If Goggins' approach is all about forging your mind in these moments of intense fire, Jocko's is about building an unbreakable structure through relentless, daily consistency. It's less about the one single brutal test and much more about an unwavering commitment to the process, day in and day out. This is Jocko's central mantra, and it kind of sounds like a paradox at first, doesn't it? How can strict rules and routines possibly make you free? Well, it's because Jocko completely reframes what discipline actually is. See, the freedom Jocko's talking about is freedom from things, freedom from weakness, freedom from procrastination, freedom from being a slave to your own moods and whims. Waking up at 4:30 a.m. to work out, prepping your gear the night before, just sticking to the plan. These aren't punishments. They're the structures that guarantee you'll make progress towards your real goals, no matter how you feel that day. And this contrast just lays out the two philosophies perfectly. Goggins seeks out the storm to prove he can survive it. Jocko builds a fortress, day by day, brick by brick, so the storm can't even touch him. Goggins says, embrace the suck when he's in the middle of the pain. Jocko simply says, get after it, every single morning, taking emotion out of the equation and just replacing it with action. So the big question is, how do we actually synthesize this? How do we take the explosive power of Goggins and the relentless consistency of Willink and build our own toolkit for an unbreakable mind? Well, it really boils down to 5 core principles. First, you use Goggins' accountability mirror for that raw honesty, and then you use his cookie jar for fuel when that honesty gets a little too tough. Second, when you want to quit, you apply his 40% rule, and you actively callous your mind by seeking discomfort so that quit point gets pushed further and further back. And finally, you wrap all of that in Willink's philosophy. You own your daily routine, because that is where real freedom and strength are built, one day at a time. Look, this isn't about being a Navy SEAL or an ultra-marathon runner. It's about applying these exact same principles to your own life, your career, your fitness, your personal goals. Mental toughness is not a personality trait you're born with. It is a skill. And just like any skill, it's built through practice. So that leaves us with one final thought, a question for your own accountability mirror. Looking at everything we've just unpacked here, what's the one comfortable lie, the one easy excuse that you are going to stop telling yourself, starting today?